question about it. They are functional.
But they're pretty damn good.
You know, they're big, they sit on the sidewalk, people knock them
Well,
over.
they're not supposed to be on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
But
They move them around, they can be moved, they get knocked over on the weekends. Does that meet the requirements of the city?
yeah.
Everything that this group, that Nicole's group had put together was stationary. That's not. So is that something we need to look at? I mean, and granted, it's their lots, they're managing those lots. They have every right to advertise to manage those lots. I have no issue with that at all. But do their signs meet the requirements?
I don't believe so.
Don't know.
And I don't know and I'm asking that
Well, I'll be straight
not
up.
rhetorically, I'm asking that because I don't know the answer to that question.
Because if you think the ones that we presented to the council were ugly, I don't know what that looked like, but.
I think we're off on a tangent here. I don't think we're saying that the signs were ugly. There's some disagreement as to whether the signs met the same criteria that the council is thinking along. So I don't think you should get that defensive. They just have a different thinking about it. And I think we all can come together at the end and agree on what that sign is.
It's not about being defensive, Eric, it's about having the approval of one council and having it ready to go and then getting it disapproved by another council. There's a difference.
And Eric, to that point, we're not trying to be argumentative here, but in that meeting, joint meeting, one council member flat out said it was ugly. That was
And that's
there,
what
and as an engineer, my thought was, well, that's not
What's that?
that's not an answer. That's, I mean, there needs to be a reason, and there could be a very legitimate reason why somebody doesn't like the sign package. Like I said, there could be anything of its size, its color, its placement. All of those things are legitimate. That wasn't to me. And I thought, well, they put a lot of effort into this, and just for, oh, we're going to can it because it's ugly, doesn't really. I think they deserve a little better answer than that. That was kind of my thing.
I mean, it was a combination of things on that. They didn't think it fit the area, and then the price was another.
Well, the price was lower than anything that was ever out there, and we did 3 bids.
Well,
It went through the bid process.
I mean,
I'm not gonna redo it, that was another meeting.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
they're not there, they're not on anybody's radar, and it just dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And this was a 1.5-year project that went nowhere, and it was ready to go, and it just dropped. And the council said that they were gonna take it up and do it, so where is it?
That was 2 months ago, and it is on our radar.
Is it?
Yeah,
Who's working on it?
we are.
Who's we?
Me.
And what have you done?
Well, to be honest with you, we've got a whole host of things.
I know you do.
And-
So what have you done specifically on the signing?
We are starting to look at other ideas.
So you've done nothing so far.
Not true.
What have you done?
I just told you.
Well,
I don't go back.
Well, I mean, really, you know, I think the council members that, and I'll talk to a couple of them individually, and you know, maybe they can take some thoughts to Eric. That's what needs to happen, I think.
And if you guys don't want to do anything, don't do anything.
Yeah.
All I'm saying
No, I don't
is,
think that's
as a store owner in this town, as a business owner in this town, I want signing that helps my customers navigate this city. There was an option that got taken away. What's the city doing about it? It was ready to go. It would have been in place right now. What's the city doing about it? Where's the timeline? Show me. If you can't do that, then what the hell are you doing? I'm not directing this entirely at you. I'm directing it at the council in general.
And as a DDA member, I will call each one of them and tell them we had this discussion, that y'all wanted to know what's, and that's a fair thing. Y'all worked on it a long time. And for them to get with Eric and give him the ideas that they didn't like the way it looked before, express to him what they do want, that we do need to move forward with it. So I'll touch base, and I'm sure you can, as you talk to him too, mention to him, so.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next one is me. As far as economic development goes, things have been pretty quiet. I do want to bring up that we do need to move forward with our discussion on 5G. The art show and the 4th of of July crowds and everything else has continued to exacerbate the problem we have here. The group that I brought in the first time, whether you use them or not, is ready to come sit down and talk to some people. At least present their ideas so that we can move this off, and I'd like to do that. And if I'm, I can speak to the mayor or whatever, before she was gonna have city, the council, not the council, but legal counsel, sit in on that meeting as well. So I'd like to at least work to get something scheduled for that. I've been getting some texts from him just saying, hey, I'd love to come up and present, at least get that started. We do know there's gonna be some pushback, as there is on most things. Do we have the email of the fine doctor? And I'm saying that with all due respect to her.
Dr. Merkel?
Yes. Do you have her email?
I have it.
Okay, because.
She's on my board for the DDA.
Well, Dr. Merkel had stated when she came and gave her concerns, she stated a lot of things regarding studies and things of that nature. I would like Dr. Merkel, she agreed to provide us with that information. So where, I know we could go back to the minutes and start.
I'm gonna see her Wednesday morning, so I can ask her.
So if she can just provide me from her talk, the studies and other things
I would like to read it.
And I would say she has sent me several articles, and I just to put it out there, I am strongly opposed to 5G. I think the dangers that poses to health of the people that live here, our flora, our fauna, far outweigh any benefit of the convenience of 5G. But I have her email as well, and she sent me quite a lot of information.
Well, I'd like to see it, and the reason being is, this has been the argument on every G that has come along, from the original cellular networks that were built in the late 1990s. They were gonna kill everybody in sight. Obviously, it hasn't. I'm not saying that, she doesn't have some valid concerns, but I definitely want to, I know I think one of the studies she mentioned in her public statements was based on a study that was done many years ago. And obviously, the technology has changed tremendously, and the amount of power that is used has changed tremendously over the years as it's become more advanced. So we want to be able to answer back, at least as we let this group come in. Ultimately, it's going to fall to the city's decision.
Is what they're doing as far as expanding the coverage, even bringing 5G here?
It will.
But 5G is going to
What
come
I think most people
regardless.
don't understand with this, and I understand the debate, and I know all of Dr. Merkel's challenges with it. 5G will come.
That's what I was going to say. We're not voting to bring 5G
No,
here.
It's being done by the telephone companies, and the
Yeah.
telephone companies will get there. They will be there by the end of this year. They all will be there.
Right.
It is a
We have no
non-starter.
say.
It doesn't matter. The phone companies will all be on 5G by the end of the year.
Right.
And there's really not a whole lot you can do about it.
The technology has advanced to this point. What the carriers, i.e. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, which are the biggest, obviously, we all know, there's Sprint's no longer, but those are the three largest. They are protected by the FCC. If we, as a city, don't prepare, then what's gonna happen is when they say we're ready to install in this area, they are going to strike their deals with the power companies, they're gonna mount on the power poles. The city can say, no, you can't, and the FCC is gonna strike the city down and say, yes, they can, because it's vital communications. And they're gonna put it up whether we like it or not. And when they do, the city's gonna make nothing off of it, other than the little pittance of some. And they're gonna be here anyway. It's coming no matter what.
So I hear what you're saying. I think Dr. Merkel also had some research on communities that are resisting.
And it's going to,
Similar to Blue Ridge as far as being that kind of rest and relaxation type communities where they just don't want anything like that interfering
And that would
with
be
their.
between, in my opinion, between the citizens of the county and the phone companies. Like, we're not literally bringing 5G
Yeah,
here.
they're going to bring it. They're going to come regardless.
We're talking about setting up a
It's
network.
their communications network that's upgrading. So they're gonna bring it anyway. They can mount it off the towers that are here right now and you'd never know it.
I think there would be some noticeable consequences of that. But, I mean, you may very well be right. There may be nothing that can be done to stop it. It may just all be about planning, to make sure it's not as detrimental as it could potentially be. But I do think Dr. Merkel would be someone that we would want to be, but just because of her expertise and background, and like you said, her personal experience as well
And
with
she
this
does.
kind of technology.
At our meetings that we have in our board, we basically turn our phones off because of policy. And there are people out there that have that. It's a legitimate issue for them, but it's such a small percentage of the population. I don't think you're going to have that kind of thing affect the benefits that does for the majority of people that are out there.
Yeah, I think one of the more recent studies, there are more recent, Johns Hopkins University has a more recent study that's actually made conclusions that it is damaging to the flora and fauna as well as the health of the people in the community. So there are more modern, more current studies by universities into the effects of 5G. So I think it is
But that's something that I think, that's a battle that probably should be fought with the FCC and in Congress versus in our little town.
Yeah,
Because
like
we have nothing to stop it with. It's gonna come whether we want it or not, because the phone companies are the ones that are driving it. And they're the ones that are gonna do it. Most of them, actually, I think AT&T has already done it this summer, haven't they? They've already upgraded all of their carriers to 5G. The rest of them will be done by the end of the year. And they're just gonna be there.
And what we're voting on isn't bringing it here.
No,
It's more about having more connectivity.
we'd have more
downtown
connectivity, more
Than
control.
it is 5G versus 3G. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we're right now, the current, see, right now, if you pick your phone, I don't know if you can carry, I have AT&T. What is
Yeah,
yours,
that's your phone.
is yours Verizon or AT&T?
Because it's
Verizon.
It says
Whether you want
LTE,
it or not.
Yeah.
that's 4G. All right, so you had 3G, 4G, now 4G LTE. 5G is the next iteration of that, which is more of a data thing than anything else. We as the world, phones, me calling Laura on our cell phones are secondary anymore to, let's download a cat playing with a ball. I mean, it's become all about downloading data, downloading movies and whatever. And whether you agree with all that or not, and I don't particularly agree with sitting there and walking around facing your phone all the time.
Right.
But we are a society of that now, unfortunately. But that's a lot of what these upgrades deal with, is that the phone part is very simple. In fact, most of the phone networks are still 3G, because it's considered still one of the best phone networks ever designed. As far as me picking up the phone and calling Laura, it's still great. Everything since then has been about data and letting people get more connected. But what we're finding is, the number of people in the city of Blue Ridge or Fannin County who now have a landline is diminishing. The only people that really do have landlines anymore are people that have no cell coverage at their houses, and they need 911 connectivity. Most communities now have the 911 fan, all of them do, where it'll ping off the cell towers for your phone so they can find you. So they've all got that. This is more about building something in place that the city, if it's coming anyway, the city ought to benefit from it. And if so, they can control it. They can control how much it is. So if you have a system set up that says this will perfectly handle the city, we don't need an overload of it, we don't need more than what we need, this will take care of us, and it works, then you have some control of it. And what we're finding, or what they're finding, is that The carriers, at the end of the day, really don't care. They're going to put it in because they need their network to be stable in terms of it all being similar. Whether they come in and mount it on our power poles in town without our approval or recognition, or they go onto a network, you know, of infrastructure that's already built, they really don't care at the end of the day. I was in Greenville, South Carolina about a week and a half ago. They have it in their downtown district, and they have the light poles we're talking about. And it's where everybody walks and does their thing, and so Greenville decided they were gonna control it. I haven't talked to the city. I thought about calling them after I saw them. But would like to at least let these folks come and talk, and because right now, we're all just talking among ourselves. If we're gonna have to do something, we might as well, let's get the ball rolling on this. Everybody has their opinion, everybody has their right to speak.
Is this something that Russell should schedule, or do you want to schedule?
I'm sorry?
Is this something, this meeting, is this something you want Russell to schedule, or do you want to schedule?
I think Russell can schedule it.
But should it be something that's at the council meeting?
Well,
Not at-
Rhonda had originally stated the first meeting was kind of just to sit down with Eric and her and legal counsel. Because one of the things this group was gonna provide is that if you chose to go with them, they were going to give you already legally tried and true ordinances that have already been written, run through all the legal gamuts and challenges, have been approved, and then part of their thing was they would hand this to you and say, now you can take it, modify it however you see fit as your own. We're just gonna give you the language, you can do with it what you want, and they weren't gonna charge you for it, it was just part of the package they were doing. Because they've done it, you know, had to do it a bunch of places over the years. But at least get that started.
So why don't you go ahead and schedule?
And that schedule these folks to meet with.
Yeah, just get that started, and then it'll start to roll through the process. Then they can say, hey, what else do you want to see? What does council need to see? And then they can bring it to all of you in a work session or whatever they do, and then continue that ball, moving that ball. And then Dr. Merkel and others can come and have the public hearings and do everything, do it the right way, but at least get it started. And I think, and then the city may go, well, we might want to let somebody else give us a proposal, which you can. You know, it doesn't have to be just one, you can give multiple. And try, but you know, the one thing I just think that everybody needs to know is that eventually it will come. And there's not anything that we, definitely not the DDA, and really the city can't really stop them when it comes down to it. I'm trying to think of any, do we have, oh, I do have one thing, this is my own personal little gripe. Does the city have any kind of ordinance in place, and I know we don't have the enforcement capability on littering? It grumbles the downtown central business district owners. And I mean, granted, we have, you know, some people just don't care, I get that. The city does have a lot of garbage cans, it seems to be nice. They do clean them out, I walk every morning down here, they're out here changing them out, that's great. But we don't have any way to enforce anything, do we really? Deep down.
Well, you got an ordinance,
Not unless police.
but you got to observe someone doing it. So in that regard, it's difficult. So we're basically going up behind them, cleaning up.
Can I ask a question to that point? Can the city add more trash cans downtown?
Sure.
Maybe that'll
Yeah.
help. If you have more placed along the road.
Or maybe some additional, so is there in the city ordinances a fine for littering? I haven't read it, so I'm asking the question. Is there?
Most of them do, I don't recall after.
I
Yeah.
don't recall that one either, but.
I mean, does that, I mean, I guess we could ask the question, does it help to put up the signs that says, you know, $50 for littering, $25, whatever it may be?
I think that would become downtown full of signs. I don't know if
I know,
I would rather add more trash cans and allow.
or do we have some signs placed that,
It's just down the main streets.
You just see it, it's
all over.
It's all
Is
over.
it like, because I know at my office, I see restaurant with branded posters all the time, in the street and everywhere.
But you see like
I see
that,
it in front of my store.
Are you talking about like the public people just throwing down things? Are you talking
Yeah,
about
I mean, there's-
business
if-
I would
specific?
definitely put more trash cans near the free parking, because that's a lot of people like.
If you look in front of my store, Jerry, next week, you might have my people who open up in the morning will clean up in the front. There'll be cups and ice cream cone things and all kinds of shit that'll be in the front of the store. And my people just clean it up.
My business too.
Yeah, so if you've got, anywhere that you get a drink or anything, every business has coffee cups, spilled stuff, everything is that, and people just finish and just throw them down or whatever, even though there's garbage cans. Maybe we ask, and I don't know, maybe we,
Well, the businesses that sell that stuff should have plenty adequate trash cans.
but see what they do is they walk out with them and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And that's the, you know,
I definitely think, I think before when I was on council last time, I think I requested they order some, one of those things are kind of expensive, but those black ones, those nice black ones, that match.
that would be good, and it maybe not signs about fines for littering, but maybe a couple that just says something about keep our city
Please keep
beautiful.
her, yeah, keep her.
You know what we could do
No,
with
no,
that?
no,
We could do that with some of the flags that we want to put downtown in between events.
Yeah, you could put those.
Keep Blue Ridge beautiful, kind of thing. We could do something like
I
that.
mean, and that would affect some people it's not, nothing you can do, you could put up fines $100 and it's still trash.
Yeah, I think the people that's gonna throw their trash away would throw it away, and the people that's gonna litter are gonna litter regardless.
But if you get a few that go, they're right, they need to keep it clean, that'd be nice,
You gotta make it convenient. I think more trash cans would be a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the trash cans was around, because I can't imagine that people just throw something down if there's a place to put it.
No, they do. You'd be amazed. I've literally, this is no joke, 2 days ago, walked out of the store, whole family, they all had, and I won't say the store they'd gotten a drink from. And one of the teenagers with 2 parents took it, threw it in the gutter. And I said something to him. I said, "You gonna pick that up?" And he goes, "No, that's what servants are for." And I looked at him and I looked at his parents and I said, I think my comment was, I said, "You'll be getting him out of prison one day." And I walked over there and picked the thing up and went and put it in the trash can. And our store is right there near Huck's. Right out the door of Huck's is one of those garbage cans. And
I've
he
seen
threw it in the street.
I've
And
seen
I'm
it
like,
a lot in free parking where people are carrying an open
Yeah.
cup and they don't want to bring it in the car.
They don't want to carry the car
There's
over the
no
store.
trash can, they just sit it down and.
It's
throw it on the
unfortunate,
side.
but it is, so I mean, maybe we could look at that.
Yeah.
Because it does detract, and as to Caesar's point, most of the business owners are coming outside and cleaning them up. Just because they feel like they need to.
Well, it's my store.
Yeah, you gotta kind of pick
I
up,
let it garbage sit out there.
so
Yeah.
maybe that's something we can look at. Okay,
Definitely more, because I have a UPS box in front of my office, and some people think it's a trash can.
yeah, leave it so
Yeah,
on
that's
top.
gotta be-
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
flat,
we've
it
had to
all
put the
works.
UPS box out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Natalie,
No
you're,
update.
mhm. You don't have an update this week? Okay, or this month? There's not, I mean, summers are fun. Caesar,
I think I've done enough damage.
have you? Fair enough, we'll move past. Laura, do you have anything?
Nothing.
Okay, Andy is not here this evening, so with that being said,
Public comment?
Eric,
Eric,
Amy?
anything to say? Amy?
Amy, I was looking for an argument.
Sorry, sorry to
You got
disappoint. That's-
You got nothing, okay. With that, we don't need an executive session that I'm aware of, so.
You know who did?
Me.
She's not on the list.
No, she's not on the list. Why isn't she on the list?
We'll get her added.
Oh,
Huh? That's okay.
It's not okay.
oh, you are absolutely correct. I am so sorry, Angie. Amy, the thrashing will commence immediately following the meeting. Angie,
I don't have any updates.
I was hoping for something earth
You
shattering.
should still be on the list.
I was hoping for a groundbreaking,
Okay.
got something. That would have been
You
great.
should still be on the list.
She should still be on the list. In fact, you should go first, actually. Okay, Amy, you got that? All right, very good. So with that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Let me ask something to
Yes.
Angie real quick.
Mhm.
One of the things that I think came out of the meeting that we all, the joint meeting that we had together, is there anything that council's looking at that they want the DDA to look at? Is there any project that you guys want us to go on? No? Okay, that's it.
But you know what, I'll ask him if they, I'll ask him if there is, I'll bring it back next month.
Okay, good.
I would, and before we do that, I'll say that, you may know more on this. Where are, the city at this point on the new bathroom facilities? I know we sent the thing to Senator Warnock, we did all that, how are we progressing?
We got through the first phase, there's 3 phases to go through. And we were approved through the first phase. We won't know till August, September about the second phase.
Okay, so hopefully by
By the end
the
of
third phase, end of year,
the
maybe?
end of the year.
But the first phase getting through is pretty good.
Right, okay. No, it's good, because again, as business owners here, we get that question at least 20 times a day.
Too many, and I said, one day he said that, I said, well, if we don't, we gotta be working on a backup plan, because
Yeah.
I want new bathrooms by next summer.
There needs to be a backup plan.
Is that possible?
And that would cover,
If
and
we don't
then,
get the grant?
now does the grant also
Depends if you want
cover?
me to work on the signs or not.
Yes,
You don't want me bringing that up at council meeting.
so does the,
Let's see, how
does the
much
grant
work
cover
can the city do?
both? Does the grant cover both, the restrooms up by the depot and the ones
No, it was just the restrooms downtown by the depot.
But the city was looking at
at the
on its
ones
own.
where the city was, are y'all still looking at the ones down by the parking area?
We own those little trailers down there,
Right.
could we not take those down there?
Not until you build something.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean,
But in the meantime, I thought the city had already looked at some way to build bathrooms down at the municipal. I thought they were
Not
on.
that I'm aware of.
I didn't know anything about that. But then what would we do with the trailers though?
Well, you could always sell the trailer at the end, but to tell you the truth though, I think if I were you guys, I would keep the trailer because it just gives you more capacity during festivals and that kind of stuff.
You can always
Just
rent
put it
those.
somewhere else.
Well, no, I mean, you're gonna build something down at the municipal lot, you put it someplace else that allows.
That could be needed, for especially our trout, the ones that are gonna really draw the bigger crowds, you could spread those out.
It just gives you more capacity during big events. And my guess is things are just gonna get bigger as we go forward.
Okay, that was my
So. It
question.
doesn't, you've already bought it.
Yeah, that's right.
Might as well use- yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so,
That's good.
okay, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Go ahead.
I'll motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?